chill.
What the hell is even that?
with you? What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Yo, peace, power, and prosperity to the village. Y'all already know what time it is. Hope everybody's enjoying their day so far. Hope everything's smooth, productive, right on the up and up. Y'all know why we're here. Y'all know what we're here to do today. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know what we're talking about. But we got to clarify a couple of things first. Like, none of these things is allegations, right? These things are just observations from what we see from our end. When we watch behaviors, when we're watching responses, when we're watching people's actions and what they're doing, that's just simply what we're doing. We're just taking account, pretty much, what's going on. Hit the like, share, subscribe when you pop into the room. It's about to get a little bit thick inside of here. We got Missy Michonne already up in the town square. What's up? You already know. That was the villager of the lair for 2025. I was in the town square making a mess and acting a fool. But that's what we here to do, right? Have conversation, talk about things, and just see things from our perspective, chop it up and talk. Like, it ain't just about what I'm saying, right? It's about everybody having their voice and speaking on a topic, right? Because everybody in the village, in the town square, they have a voice. The only thing we don't prescribe to is being rude. Right? Don't attack the person, attack the idea. Attack the conversation. Right? I attack the person. You know? But for y'all, you know, don't attack the person, man. Attack the ideology. Deal with the conversation. Ain't no need for ad hominem and kicking people's back and all that other crazy stuff. I got that on lock. I got that, right? But in the buttons, right? Turn this shit up, throw it in the algorithm so people could jump over here, join the conversation, right? The more the merrier, as usual. Y'all know it's a lot of them from FDNHT. He and I is him. Slim Trin on boat to win. I am Glennis, baby, Once again, it's a pleasure to be here with y'all. It's a beautiful Monday. It's always a pleasure to be the host. I will never ever overdo it. I will never ever overdo and do the most. You hear it? Without further ado, let's jump into it. So start talking about this madness. So there's a creator in the finance world named Wolves of Finance, named Zach, right? And he was served with a cease and desist letter from TPUSA, from a lawyer representing TPUSA and TPUSA affiliates, which is TPUSA Action, TPUSA PAC, and those other affiliate companies, LLCs, or whatever they are, right? Whatever they are, but they're attached to TPUSA, clearly, as we explained in the other video. And we just watching this thing and these patterns that fall out. This is all fallout from Charlie Kirk not being here. Let's not make no mistakes. If Charlie Kirk was still here, most likely none of this shit would have hit the spectrum that it hit, and it would have not been magnified and microphoned and bullhorned to this level, to where we have people really doing deep dive research on this. And they're not just giving up on it, they are running the extra mile and the extra mile and the extra mile with this information. So I want to say big shout out to y'all for popping out and doing God's work, right? Because our looks to us, looking at it from our angles, it really seems like the authorities involved really ain't doing their job, really not doing their part. So shout out to y'all that's hitting the streets. People don't went to visit the site. Like real talk, people had left the comfortability of their own households and went to visit the site, right, of the execution of Charlie. People that put their money where their mouth is and bought plane tickets and got rental cars and drove to the site at UVU. So that's a level of dedication right there that needs to be saluted at the end of the day. So salute to everybody that's in the grind. So many names. If I start naming names, I'm gonna forget names, right? So for y'all, if the shoe fits, big salute to y'all. Wear it and wear it proud. Let's pull this. Let me add this to the stage really quick, and let's talk about cease and desist real quick before we jump into the video. Let's just clarify a couple of things. What is a cease and desist letter? A cease and desist letter can be a very effective and simple way to quickly resolve a conflict. A cease and desist letter is often used the first step in resolving a dispute. The letter acts as a warning before you take stronger legal action, such as filing a lawsuit. You send a letter directly to the person or the business to ask them to stop an activity that you believe is violating your rights. Unlawful activity can be anything from harassment to using your company name without your permission. You might also see a cease and desist letter referred to as a demand letter or a stop harassment letter. Why use a cease and desist letter? Cease and desist letter is often used your first interaction with a person or business you believe are violating your rights. The introduction lets the other side know, A, you have certain rights. B, you have legal protections around those rights. C, you believe that they're violating those rights. And D, you're willing to pursue different ways of you're willing to pursue different ways to legally protect those rights if they do not stop violating their rights. The letter is a quick and easy way to state your case to the other side. Perhaps they don't know that they're violating your rights. Maybe they didn't think that you would notice that they were doing it, or they didn't, or they thought you wouldn't know how or the means to confront them. When the letter is sent, you start the resolution process. As soon as someone may take time and money, but you're able to resolve a solution without going to court or filing some other action or complaint, and you can save yourself costs, attorney's fees, and a great deal of time. In addition to saving time and money, the letter is a good way to track communication you've sent to the other side. Sending the letter proves evidence that the party had notice of the wrongful behavior, but continued to engage in it. In some cases, using trademark infringement, the notice could allow you to collect additional monies, damages if you decide to bring this case to court. right? Basic, quick onesies, twosies of a cease and desist letter. Quick explanation, so we all got the baseline for what we about to hear from Wolves of Finance. Shout out to Wolves of Finance too, for actually being in the grind and actually being, from what I know, the first person to that has received any type of legal pushback or discussing the finances that's going on at TPUSA and their affiliated corporations. Why do organizations tend to sue or use these things, right? Cease and desist letters and sue people? You have reputation control, right? To maintain their status so their reputation doesn't take a hit. When you have a company or corporation that is highly donor, let's say funded, donors actually look towards this company to have a certain level of integrity, certain level of transparency, then reputation control using the letters and lawsuits is a good way to protect their reputation, so donors still have the confidence, right? They still have that warm, fuzzy feeling that this company is above board, right? Or at least they playing par. It could also serve as a way to, let's say, maintain their reputation with the public also, not just with the donors, right? A lot of us probably aren't TPUSA donors or their subsidiary companies or they partner companies or whatever the case is, but still having a good reputation with just this society in general, I think is a good thing. So that's why I see these legal actions being, let's say, beneficial to the companies. Let's hit the video real quick. Check out what Wolves of Finance has to say about the letter he received. He's up and running. All right. Dr. Shit. That's a piece of work right there, boy.
The letter from Turning Point titled Demand to Cease and Desist Defamatory Comments. This is the first step when someone sues you for defamation. I know there are a lot of people out there making videos about Turning Point, so you should pay attention to this. They have started sending out cease and desist letters, and for some reason, they've decided to start with me. Apparently, they cannot handle the criticism from my teeny tiny YouTube channel. This letter is showing the world the type of organization Turning Point has become under Erica Kirk. They want to send legal letters to small YouTube creators. So we're going to go through this letter. And by the way, if any of you know a good lawyer in Arizona that handles defamation cases, have them send me an email through my website because I'm looking for a lawyer.
Before we push on, these things also tend to have, let's say, a negative connotation to it, right? People assume that you're guilty if you have to take these measures. Like the organization is trying to silence the information being put out, right? Which makes the organization look shady. The lack of transparency makes the organization look shady. The fact that we might look at this like this is a major overreaction, like they're just out here killing ants with a sledgehammer, right? Fishing with dynamite. People look at these things like they could be a simple overreaction. And the response, normally what people want the response to be is something that's exactly dry and plain, pretty much just as the accusation, right? You stole the apple from Mr. John's store. That's the accusation, but that's what's being laid in front of you. The simple and even reaction should be a simple defense, right? I did not steal the apple from Mr. John's store, simply because I haven't been to Mr. John's store in a week, so it could not have been me. Let's ask Mr. John, did Mr. John see me in his store this week? Right? It should be something very even keeled. That's how people see things to be absolutely true. It comes across just so plain, just like how the truth is just spoken, right? You speak the truth in plain, and it's just normal and natural, and it's free flowing. When things happen like this in mannerisms where legal action is happening, or the reaction seems to be just over the top, it's like, okay, well, there's smoke, there's fire, there's something to hide going on in there. And that's just the way it is. And either one could be right. The corporation could just be trying to protect themselves and their reputation, or they actually could be doing shady business. And this is the way that they choose to hide and silence, right, the voices of people asking questions. It could be both ways. Nobody actually really knows until, let's say, it actually goes to court and everything is laid flat. Because if this does go to court, everything has to come out at that point. Like, all the documents would have to come out. All the evidence would have to come into play. All the videos, all the tax documents, all the statements, everything comes into play. So if the corporation is actually doing shady business, this could be extremely dangerous for them. You dig it? But let's head back to Wolf real quick. Shout out to Wolf and Finance again, bro. Zach, stay up, bro.
Turning Point states in the letter, Turning Point entities are not looking for litigation. Rather, their interest is in the truth and making sure the public record is accurate. So they are claiming they do not want to sue me. But I view this letter as a threat to sue, and I think any reasonable business person would do the same. A cease and desist letter is the first step towards a defamation lawsuit. I interpret this letter as Turning Point telling me to shut my mouth or they're going to sue me. I do not understand what Erica Kirk is doing. Out of the hundreds of people posting on social media about Turning Point, why are they targeting me? Why are they so worried about what I am saying that they're sending me legal letters? I am one of the smallest YouTube channels in my market segment. Who do they think I am? I'm a working accountant with a small YouTube channel. I have no money. I have no power. I have no influence. I don't know how much money they think they're going to get from suing me. All I have is the truth. And I'm not going to stop speaking the truth because Erica Kirk doesn't like it. The one good thing about a lawsuit is that everything will be out in the open, and Turning Point will quickly find out that I have nothing to hide.
Good for you, Zach. If you say you're standing with the truth, bro, you're standing with what you have, what was given, then you're standing in the right area, bro. It's not, and that's the thing about it too. From when I watched the video that he actually did about it, and it's not malicious, dog. You could see his energy right here in this video right here. It's very just plain and dry. Like, he has no emo attachment to any of it. It's dry. It's hella plain. It's like, so this is what I found type of deal. Like, this shit doesn't look right to me because I am an accountant. So I do this shit on a daily basis. I do this on a daily basis, right? Part 2. We said the other day, a hit dog, a howl, right? I heard this phrase when I used to live in Louisiana, right? A hit dog, a howl. This seems like that dog is howling. It just seems that way. If you have to take action against him, because a simple message to somebody's inbox, a simple DM, right, could have clarified pretty much anything. Him being a finance guy, saying, yo, I've heard back from these corporations, I've heard back from these people, and it was explained to me like this. That could have been an easy clarification. You smell me? So, like I was talking about, just even responses, shit being even keeled.
The letter came from a lawyer named Paul Edgard Harold from South Bend, Indiana. It seems like this is Turning Point's lawyer. I looked him up, and I cannot find that he has been admitted to the State Bar of Arizona in order to practice law in Arizona, so I'm not exactly sure how he's going to sue me in Arizona, but maybe he's working with other lawyers. In the letter, they order me to, please confirm that you will publicly correct your false statements immediately. This is not what I was going to talk about this week, but Turning Point is demanding that I communicate their statements publicly. So here we go. They include a whole list of statements they claim are false that I have made in my videos about Turning Point. Now, I'm not interested in spreading false information, so I'm glad that Turning Point reached out to me, because if I said something wrong, I am happy to correct it. So let us go through the statements where they have a problem. And you're going to want to hear this because some of these are wild. On November 16th, I posted a video called Bombshell, Did Turning Point USA Commit Fraud? They say these are false claims. Charlie Kirk ordered a Doe-style audit that was never conducted. Here is my first problem with this letter. They do not include the actual quote that I said in the video. This is a paraphrased statement of what I said, and they are saying that the paraphrased statement is a lie. You have to tell me exactly what I said that was supposedly a lie, and they do this through the whole letter. So my request to this lawyer in future letters, because I'm assuming there's going to be more, please include the actual quote that I said so that I can respond to your accusation. But I'm going to at least try to interpret what they're saying. I spoke in my video about a memo that Charlie Kirk wrote 8 days before he was murdered.
Same memo that we read. We read this memo, like, I believe last week.
In the cease and desist letter, they say, indeed, Turning Point USA's COO announcement concerning the Doge effort never used the word audit. So this is breaking news. Turning Point's attorney has now confirmed that the Charlie Kirk memo is authentic. We now have legal confirmation this did happen. It seems like their problem with my video is that I called it a Doge audit, when in the memo it is written as Doge effort.
What did he say?
That seems so semantic, like he playing semantic, like just pulling at straws pretty much, like nitpicky type bullshit. Department of Government Efficiency. We already read the memorandum that he put out. So a Department of Efficiency effort. So basically what they said. Jesus Christ, M Love, what up, G? Peace, power, and prosperity. You already know.
So they want everyone to use the word effort and not use the word audit. This letter is seriously hurting my head. Whatever word you use, the memo is clearly talking about an evaluation of Turning Point. But we cannot use the word audit. We have to call it an effort, or they are going to sue you. The letter goes on to say, the announcement makes clear that Turning Point USA was doing what it has always pledged to donors, ensuring it was being efficient with its funds and time and making changes to foster greater efficiencies. Moreover, Turning Point USA hires a third-party audit firm to conduct an audit every year. This is all just their...
What was the name of that damn company they was using? So check this out. If you don't know, they had a company they used to use called Baker Tilly. That company has a shady past already with doing ill business. So the company that they bragging and boasting about having a yearly done, that same company has a bad reputation. That reputation is not above board, right? So pretty much like this. Everybody knows the hookup person to go to in your neighborhood, right? Back in the day when you wanted illegal cable, right? Where they had the black boxes, everybody had it. They was running splitters from house to house and having a black box rigged in and all that. Everybody knew who to go to get the hookup. From what I gathered from the Baker Tilly company, allegedly, what I gathered, they are not above board. They are known for shady practices, straight like that. That's what I came across doing the research. That's what I came across. And I'm just saying allegedly, right? Allegedly, they shady. They not above board. They're not even par.
Opinion. This is how they are interpreting Charlie Kirk's memo.
That's who I think he's referring to.
They think that Charlie Kirk wrote this memo, and they think it means that they do not have to do anything. How convenient. They think that Charlie Kirk wrote a memo just to tell people to keep doing business as usual. Well, my opinion, and the opinion of many other people, was that Charlie Kirk's memo meant something different.
Correct. But then again, it goes back to the behavior that we've been witnessing after Charlie Kirk's removal, right, from this dimension. We are witnessing the behaviors and the action of these people, and it does not align with people that really care about Charlie. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And whoop, off branch real quick. Check this out. If Charlie Kirk specifically noted that Nicki Minaj was not a suitable role model or representation for Black girls to look up to, tell me why on God's green blue earth, whether it's flat or it's round like a marble, whether it's triangle like a pizza slice, whether it's square like my plates, Why would she have Nicki Minaj on the stage to talk and act like she's a part, act like she is in the gang? Specifically, your wife went and told the person that you specifically said Nicki Minaj is not a great representation. Why would you bring her there? That seems like a blatant spit in his face to me from where I stay. There is no honor in him in his deletion. There is none. We have not seen nobody honor this man in his deletion. But they want to put up museums and statues and all this weird shit and turn the memorial into a fucking campaign that it looked like they was running for some type of office. Let's be honest. Let's be real and just look at this thing through regular lenses. Take off the rose-colored lenses, put your emo lenses back in your back pocket, and let's be absolutely real. Look at it plain Jane for what it is and what we're seeing. Stop adding your emotions into what you're seeing because it's blinding you. It is distorting the reality in front of your face simply because you want to believe something is a certain way. There is no need to play games with your own self in your own brain when you're seeing it plain as day. Stop doing that. It benefits nobody. It definitely doesn't benefit you. So stop. Lock in reality.
This is not a statement of fact, it is an opinion. This is another problem I have with this letter. Most of the statements they mention are opinions, just like this one. If you are going to accuse me of defamatory statements, they need to be facts, not opinions. If I have a fact wrong, let me know and I will happily correct it. But I will not change my opinion of this memo to whatever you want. But since it is so important for Turning Point, I have no problem with specifying that Charlie Kirk's memo used the words Doge effort, not Doge audit. The next statement is, someone at Turning Point decided not to file 990 forms. At the time I made that video, those forms were not publicly posted. Those forms were posted after I made that video, and I've already made a correction about that. The next statement is, in 2023, $650,000 may have been funneled from Turning Point USA through Turning Point Action to Turning Point PAC to evade campaign finance restrictions. They are referencing this chart from my video. They claim money actually went from Turning Point Action to Turning Point USA as a reimbursement for event expense. There was nothing nefarious about that transfer. I'm not sure they are contradicting what I am saying. According to their own statement, Turning Point USA used their own donor funds to pay for an event on behalf of Turning Point Action, freeing up Turning Point Action funds, which they then transferred to Turning Point PAC. They are saying that later, Turning Point Action reimbursed Turning Point USA for that event. But that doesn't change what I was saying. Additionally, in my video, I specifically said, again, this is not necessarily illegal if they structure their transactions correctly and utilize campaign finance loopholes, but it certainly looks unethical. That is my opinion. This money did move between the organizations. I'm allowed to have my opinion.
Right.
On November 30th, I posted a video called Explosive, More Fraud at Turning Point USA. They say these are false claims. There was more fraud at Turning Point USA.
Yeah, this is nitpicky as hell, right? They playing the word semantic game to have some type of foot in the door, or let's say some type of stamp, some type of official something to say, some pushback. But it's all semantics.
I assume they are referring to the title of the video here. They, of course, are saying that there is no fraud at Turning Point USA. The content of the video is me going over the evidence of fraud and sharing my opinion. Now, technically, a true statement would be that no one has been convicted of fraud at Turning Point USA, but whether fraud is going on right now is an opinion. This is what happens in every criminal court case. Both sides look at the facts. One side gives their opinion that they are innocent. The other side gives their opinion that they are guilty. Turning Point is looking at the financials and claiming that they are innocent. I understand that. I'm looking at the same financials and thinking they look suspicious. I did not even say in my video that they committed fraud. I think I'm very fair and balanced when I say, now for legal reasons, I have to say that I do not have any evidence of a crime. We would need an investigation of the books at Turning Point to know for sure.
Right.
What I am saying is that there are red flags in the financials at Turning Point and a lot of questions that need to be answered. That sounds to me to be pretty fair and balanced, and the complete opposite of what they are accusing me of saying. They cannot take my statements out of context and accuse me of defamation.
Right.
I have the right, as a journalist, to report on Turning Point's financials. Their opinion that they have not committed fraud is just an opinion. My opinion is that it looks suspicious.
Yeah, that's corny. That's super corny. But then it constantly lends to it's some shady business going on over there. You're not talking about factual things in this letter, right? So far, we haven't seen anything that's hard up fact. It's opinion versus opinion. You can't. So where's the violation, right? Remember when we read the cease and desist letter? Why is it used? When is it used? What is it? Plain Jane. It's supposed to protect rights, right? I see that you violated my rights. This is my initial contact with you to let you know that I know, and I want you to stop. So once the violation has happened, that means it's a factual thing, not an opinionated thing. So even this in itself looks wonky and shady. Even that right there, simple, looks shady. And when I say looks shady, I'm not saying that it is shady. It just looks a certain way. Anybody could look at something and describe it for what it is. Especially talk about people that are experts in these fields and these disciplines, right? He's an accountant. He does this every single day. He knows the number game. And I'm pretty sure when you're an accountant, you have to know certain laws about finance also. Certain laws about business and business strategy and business operation to not end up committing fraud. Let's lock in, bro. Let's look and listen. Yo, Zach, go ahead, bro.
Now, it is nice that we have this letter with their official statements, but the letter does nothing to change my suspicions. It does not address most of my questions.
Right.
Instead of answering my questions, it is the precursor to a lawsuit unless I change my statements. That does nothing to reduce my suspicions. For the sake of avoiding miscommunication, I can change the title of the video if that makes them more happy. I already changed it from
calm down. Nope, not right now. Nope, not right now, buddy. Hey. Hey. Calm your ass down. Let me come over there.
More fraud at Turning Point USA to more fraud at Turning Point USA, allegedly. The next statement is that America's Turning Point had ghost employees. The letter explains, America's Turning Point had 80 employees in FY23 and 108 in FY24. There was, however, an inadvertent error in America's Turning Point filing, which failed to note these employees, and America's Turning Point is in the process of rectifying that inadvertent error. So I was right. There was something wrong. They did put in.
So they admitted to it in the midst of it of saying that he's wrong and their opinions are clashing. They admit to it actually being an error. That's a lot of error though. That's a lot of error. Message said that is 2 cents. Yeah, on the game, bro. Tito ain't going for that shit. Roll Tito. Come on.
Incorrect information on the 990 form. There were missing employees they were not reporting. They have confirmed it. And just to be clear, this was not some minor mistake. This was around 80 employees that were somehow missing.
Right.
Their complaint is that it's not.
That's a lot of people to be. That's a lot of people, though. You don't miss 80 people. There is no way I go to work knowing that I work with 40 people and 15 people show up and I don't notice that. There's no way when we look at the list of employees, right, in the morning time to make sure everybody's accounted for so we could start the day and hand out assignments, right, to meet our goals and perspectives, right? There's no way I'm clocking 40 and 15 people show up, and I think that's okay. That's a lot of people. One person, sure. Two people, sure. So it's still 38 people, right? Even 5 people, possibly. Possibly 5 people. That's a lot of people.
Not correct to use the term ghost employees. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that opinion, but that is their position. I find this incredible. How are they going to sue me for this? They admit that I am right that the employees were not reported correctly. They don't like the wording I used. How is that defamatory?
This is all semantics, bro. This is, from what I've gathered so far, this is not helping them in their reputation and their stance and the way that they're being looked at right now from people that's investigating, from donors that supported them, that are looking at it like it's shady, especially when we looked at the Tyler Boyer scenario last week, when we saw a scandal that he's wrapped up in, now him being moved from TPUSA to Turning Point Action at the same time that Justin Schaefer was moved into the COO position at TPUSA. These things aren't coincidental things. I don't care what nobody says. These are something that's coincidence, right? So we already looked at that one scandal with that situation right there. In the same letter the same memo, the same one that Charlie put out, had all that information in there with the Doge, with the movement of Justin Schaefer, all that was in there. So now it's more ism and schism bullshit. It's more nitpicky bullshit. This is stupid.
Corey.
And at the same time, admitting to him being, you admit to him being right about something that he said simply to fight the small. It's like they fighting for crumbs. They fighting for the little breadcrumbs and looking at the loaf with a side eye, because the loaf is correct, right? The big loaf, they can't do nothing about it, but they could argue about the crumbs that fell off the loaf when you took it out. Get the fuck out of here.
The next statement is that donations to Turning Point Action increased from $10.7 million in FY23 to $27.2 million in FY24, and suggested that Tyler Boyer may have been recruiting these donors away from Turning Point USA to undermine MAGA and benefit himself. Again, this is not exactly what I said, and I find their paraphrasing of my statements a little silly. They are claiming that Tyler Boyer never tried to undermine Charlie Kirk in any of his decisions. Tyler Boyer never tried to benefit himself in his role at Turning Point. I find those claims a little excessive. What I actually say in my video was sharing my opinion on the financials, which I'm allowed to do. When you see Tyler Boyer's organization growing
12% increase, 150% increase, 2024, at 80 mil, at 30 mil, but let's say this is 23, this would be 23, 22, 21, 20, yeah, 2024. It's a hell of a jump.
Going so much faster than Charlie Kirk's organization, that looks to me like a corporate takeover from the inside. That is my opinion, which I'm allowed to have. Now, of course, I cannot know what is going on inside Tyler Boyer's mind, but that's not what I said in my video. I was not speaking about his state of mind or his motivation. I do not know that. The letter goes on to explain that donors naturally direct more money towards election activities in election years, especially to organizations like Turning Point Action that can engage in lobbying and political activity during election years. Accordingly, you are wrong to assert that the increased donations to Turning Point Action evinced any sort of wrongdoing on Mr. Boyer's part. So their explanation is that all the changes in the financials can be explained by the election. That is their official explanation. I do not believe it, and that is my opinion. On December 7th, I posted a video called Top 10 Clowns of the Year. In this video, I called Turning Point my #1 clown of the year. I talked about the now infamous interview with Turning Point's chief security person talking about the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. I point out the massive contradiction where he says they were not allowed to fly drones. Then I show the interview with Frank Turek where he says he was watching drone footage with Charlie Kirk. This part is breaking news because I'm not aware this has ever been discussed. The lawyer in this letter says the following: there was no discrepancy. UVU prohibited Turning Point USA from flying drones for security purposes during the event. but did allow a Turning Point USA media production drone to briefly fly over the location before the event to collect limited B-roll footage. First of all, how could this be defamatory if I had no idea about any of this? Second, I find this explanation absurd. You are telling me that the security team was not allowed drones, but the media team was?
What did he say?
I'm gonna leave that right there. Y'all heard it. I'm gonna leave it right there. Stew on it, marinate on it, cipher it, put it in a mental centrifuge, spin it around, get what you get out of that one. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
That is the official explanation from Turning Point's lawyer. My honest opinion is I do not believe that. But if that did happen, that is really silly, and it may have cost Charlie Kirk his life. On December 14th, I posted a video called Tim Pool Rants about Turning Point. They say these are false claims. Asking whether money sent to 110 LLC was to bribe Jay Kaufman. Again, that's not exactly what I said. They are complaining that I'm not allowed to ask questions.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We got like 20 more minutes. Pull up, hit them buttons. It might get a little crazier. It might get a little bit more salacious. I do not know 100% for sure. But I tell you what, it ain't lame and it ain't boring. You heard? Y'all know. I appreciate all the support, all the love y'all show. Right? But this is, we are really looking at something here that is, it's actually turning out to make no sense at all. It's actually has promoted a mission of guilt from where I'm standing. And in my opinion, right? This shit's still shady as fuck. In my opinion, it's still shady. That's it. From where I'm standing on my cul-de-sac, this shit looks shady. I don't care what nobody said. All right? Go ahead, Zach, run it up.
I cannot ask questions about 110 LLC. I cannot ask questions about Jay Kaufman. I think those are fair questions to ask, given that Turning Point sends them millions of dollars as one of their largest independent contractors. This is America. I'm allowed to ask questions. But I think it is fair for Turning Point to also state their official position. They claim, Turning Point contracts with 110 LLC for legitimate services. The money you ask about is spent on marketing and advertising services. Any claim that it is a bribe is false. The second statement is, asking why America's Turning Point lists COO Tyler Boyer as an independent contractor. Again, they are saying, I'm not allowed to ask questions. Does Turning Point see the irony in this? Charlie Kirk died under a tent with the slogan, "Prove me wrong."
Right.
His whole college campus tour was about asking questions.
Yep.
And now Turning Point is sending out legal letters to small YouTube channels accusing them of defamation for asking questions. I was asking the question why their COO was an independent contractor. I think that is unusual. That is my opinion. Turning Point is now stating their official position. America's Turning Point lists its COO as an independent contractor because his substantive role for America's Turning Point is more in line with the contractor classification. So this is new information. Now we know Turning Point is intentionally doing this. This is not a mistake. They are intentionally classifying their COO as an independent contractor, which means they are not withdrawing payroll taxes to send to the IRS. Now, if I were their CFO, I would not do this. But for some reason, their CFO, the politician Justin Olson, has to. This is new information. Now we know Turning Point is intentionally doing this. This is not a mistake. They are intentionally classifying their COO as an independent contractor, which means they are not withdrawing payroll taxes to send to the IRS. Now, if I were their CFO, I would not do this. But for some reason, their CFO, the politician Justin. So this is new information.
You better keep asking questions because it's the only thing that will keep us free. Another betrayal of this man. This betrayal. They spitting in this man's face. This man probably rolling in his grave right now, dog. it's not looking like they're on the same path that Charlie was on, straight like that. From where I'm standing, allegedly, they look to be extremely anti-Charlie.
Now we know Turning Point is intentionally doing this. This is not a mistake. They are intentionally classifying their COO as an independent contractor, which means they are not withdrawing payroll taxes to send to the IRS. Now, if I were their CFO, I would not do this. But for some reason, their CFO, the politician Justin Olson, has determined with all of his accounting expertise that this is the best way to classify their employees. Whatever the reason, this is Turning Point's opinion about an IRS classification. It is not a statement of fact, and I'm allowed my own opinion. The letter also states, more generally, you have accused the Turning Point entities of being shell companies. This too is false. They are arguing about what can be defined as a shell company. They don't want anyone to call Turning Point's multiple organizations shell companies.
USA, Endowment, Action, or in America's Turning Point, ATP, Action, Turning Point USA.
Personally, I do not agree that it is an incorrect use of the definition. Turning Point is moving money between organizations like some kind of shell game. A shell game is a classic street hustle and magic trick. So in my opinion, I think it would be appropriate to call them shell companies. But if Turning Point is so upset about the word shell company, I have no problem calling them something else from now on. On December 28th, I posted a video called Shocking, Turning Point Fraud Gets Worse. They claim you recklessly repeated many of the previously described falsehoods and again directed viewers to the home address of Mr. Boyer, which has resulted in threats to Mr. Boyer's safety. Let me explicitly state that I condemn any violence, any threat, any harassment being sent to any employee at Turning Point. Do not even harass them on X.com. Do not tweet at them. Do not send them angry messages. Keep your comments in my comment section. Just for the record, I will repeat what I have previously said. And I have to tell people, please do not go to Tyler Boyer's house. That is not appropriate. I was in no way calling for violence against Tyler Boyer, and you are absolutely false in claiming that I was. In the video,
yeah, you should never, ever leave this shit on the internet, right? Let's be sensible. Let's be sensible in our behavior. A disagreement could simply be a disagreement. That is it. If it started on the internet, leave it on the internet. Oh, this whole culture that went on, this whole movement that was hey, I don't got time for your shit. This whole movement that went on about drop the location and all this other crazy shit. What are we doing? Be real, like what are we doing here? Leave it on the internet. You disagree, you disagree. Unfollow the person and keep it moving. But everybody has to be a tough guy. Everybody want to take shit for action. Calm your stupid asses down. I agree with you, Zach. Keep your ass inside your house. Don't be running up on people's house and all this other crazy. Y'all not your mind.
I blacked out Tyler Boyer's address, which I did not have to do. He put the address himself on a public document. That's not my fault.
Right. Exactly. It make way too much sense. It make way too much sense. Right? Anton went on Buddy's show to act a complete asshole. If that was your plan to go over there and do, stay your fucking ass at home. Don't come over to people's platform. Don't come over to people's house and be disrespectful, dog. If you can't simply have some decorum and some fucking simple basic respect for other people's shit, stay your ass at home. If you lack the simple behavioral skills to get down and get along with society, stay your barbaric ass at home. I don't care who you are. But if you lack the skills to exist peacefully in society with some decorum, stay your monkey ass, your goofy ass at home. Nobody want to deal with y'all shit. Because I'm telling you for real, this is the honest truth. There's people out here that do not play games with anybody and they mind their own business until you go over there and you mess with them and it turns into some real serious shit that I guarantee 9.5 of y'all not ready to fucking deal with. That's the honest truth. But y'all keep playing them silly games, right? You win silly prizes. Go on the internet and look at what a zipper is. Go on the internet and see what these wounds look like. Go on the internet and see how much people can't walk no more. Go on the internet and see how much people is paralyzed. Go on the internet and see how many people got canes. They got walkers with them. They're not even 30 years old yet. But guess what? They won silly prizes because they played silly games. And now the rest of their life, they got bags attached to them. Y'all keep playing out here in these streets if y'all want to.
That's his fault. Don't blame me when I have tried to protect his privacy. So that is the letter. There are more paragraphs of legal language that I skipped, but that is pretty much the letter. I have to say that in general, most of the things they brought up were nitpicky little things, like they don't want me to use the word audit or the words shell company. Those are not even facts. But I am going out of my way to adjust for some of their requests. And I want to mention something else. Take a moment and think of all the statements they listed in this letter as problematic. I think it's around 11 statements they are claiming are false. Now, think about all the things I've talked about in my videos on Turning Point. There are a lot of other things that I have said in my videos that were never mentioned in this letter. They did not say I got those statements wrong.
Right.
I think that is very telling.
Right.
Again, I have no desire to spread false information. Some of their statements in this letter were actually very helpful in answering some of our questions. So I hope that this video cleared up any confusion. I will be honest with you guys. Getting a legal letter
January the 8th. So January the 8th was what? 11 days ago? What day was January the 8th? Thursday? Second week of January? Because it began on the first, the Thursday. Yeah. It was a Thursday. Yep. You got this letter on the second week, the 8th, the next Thursday.
like this is scary. I don't know why Turning Point is attacking me like this. I don't have a lot of money, lawyers are expensive, and I'm going to need a good one. So I'm going to ask for help.
Go ahead.
If you like my videos, consider signing up for a membership. That is money that I would use if this turns into a lawsuit. If you want to provide additional support, you can also donate directly from the home.
There go the information right there. If y'all want to help out Zach from Wolves in Finance. I already donated. I personally donated already to support Zach in this movement, because just his mannerism about the whole thing tells me that he has no agenda in it. You could tell when things have agendas in it, right? When you agendarize something, it comes across with the most slander. It's lies, it's slander, it's shit being added on, it's all this salacious words being used, and you get some ad hominems tossed in there, right? The name calling and all that other stuff. With him taking a forensic look at the documents and just saying this is what it looks like to me, I don't think he has any ill intent. So if y'all want to donate, pause it real quick so I can look at the information right here. That's it. He's closing out, so I'll close out in a little bit after this. Appreciate all the support so far. Appreciate everybody pulling up, hitting the buttons.
Homepage of my website on wolvesinfinance.com. I really appreciate all my members, and I'm so thankful for your support, especially in times like these. I'm Zach from Wolves in Finance. Thank you for watching.
Peace. Hold it down, white. The reality is this, man. This did not help them at all. In my opinion, where I'm standing at, in the back of the cul-de-sac, looking down the lane, this did not help them at all. Not even a little bit. It didn't make them seem to be dealing in square business. Straight like that, in my opinion, from what I'm seeing, how it's coming across to me, right? Simple as this. In the effort to make themselves look strong, they actually made themselves look extremely shady. In the efforts to put some down pressure on Wolves, right? It made them look like they just want to silence the noise that's being made. Let's put an end to what's being said, because the hit dog was howling, right? He hit the dog and the dog howled. Why was this necessary? Because they are donation heavily based. So if donors see this information, if donors hear this word out there in the street, they pull it from the ether, right? This great internet space that we be rocking with. If they get wind of this, then what? They might start closing up them wallets, right? They might start closing them checkbooks. You dig it? It just looks extremely shady and suspicious. Looks like overkill. It looks heavy-handed. And then with the claims being so basically opinion versus opinion and not fact versus fact, this thing basically has no legs in our reality. But there's a lot of lawyers out here, man. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person that thinks Zach does good work. So I'm pretty sure people will help Zach out. Big salute to you, Zach. I think you're being honest, bro. So once again, salute to you. Salute to your channel. Wolves in Finance, man. Closing out. If they want to go at, come on. If they go in at Zach, and Zach is not one of the titans in his arena, right? In the finance arena, and talking about money and doing analysis and forensic looks at financial documents, he's not the big dog in that arena. If they're willing to go at him, is there a possibility that the big dogs are next, right? People that got way more say-so, way more followers, way more subscribers, way more juice in the game. Are they next also? If they had similar takes on it, would they be next to receive letters? Right? Like, who could possibly be next, right? But in closing, man, this is all fallout from Charlie being removed. Let's be honest and let's be true. If Charlie was still here, this would probably not be the case. Why Charlie's not here? We already went through that in the other video last week, where I stand at not only why I think he's not here when we did the Baron Coleman review, not only why I believe that he's not here, but how I believe it was done. From gathering information from these other experts around here, that's how I think it was done. It's in the video last week. It was the Baron Coleman review. Stop, take a look at it. Hit the like buttons, like, share, subscribe. And if you rock it with the conversation, man, you think it was good analysis from the outside looking in, from all that we know so far, and just looking at Zach's video, hit the button, man. Share the video, right? And even when the video is posted, y'all can still comment on the videos. I read them. I see them all the time. Ask anybody that probably dropped a comment. I probably hit a button for it, or I responded to it, right? If I like the comment or I don't like the comment. I don't have to agree with everything you say. You don't have to agree with everything I say, but we could definitely live in peace and harmony and be respectful and live with decorum, right? On that note, take care of yourself so you can take care of the people that surround you. Make sure you love yourself so you can love the people that is around you. This thing in life, it is a marathon and it's not a sprint. So train every day like the marathon is tomorrow. When you're ready, you don't ever have to get ready. Y'all know from FDNHT, Trin, it's a love thing, 24/7, 365. Peace. I'll see y'all soon. Probably see y'all tonight, the early morning style. You know what I mean? I like shooting in that sector, that early morning style, or the night owls be out chilling and kicking it, right? I'm done. Relax. I'm done. I'm closing out. Yeah, I'm closing out. Yeah, I am. Okay. All right. Okay. You good? We good? No? All right. Okay. You sure? Yo, peace, yo. Let me go deal with this. It's a Looney Tune bird. I think he's hungry. Let me go check his bowl, make sure he got food and stuff. Yo, peace. Power, prosperity. I see y'all soon.